Sessions, the podcast.
All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Entrepreneur Sessions. I'm your host, Jennifer, and here's my co-host, Mario.
Hey, everybody, how's it going?
Hey, y'all see the new red shirt in the background?
Hey.
Entrepreneur.com.
I'm going to crop it, like, I don't know how these news anchors do it, but hey, you know.
So today we have a special guest in the building. She is the founder of Boxed by Baisy, which is a startup candle company in Dallas, Texas. Everybody help us welcome Alieshia Baisy.
Hey.
Thank you for joining us. This is going to be a good conversation. We're going to let Mario kick it off real quick. Question.
Cool. So thank you for taking the time to jump on board with us today. How you doing?
Of course. Thank you guys for having me. I'm doing really well. As I was saying, just a little travel fatigue, but I'm happy to be back in Dallas. I went home to Waco for a 20-year reunion. So good to be back.
Nice. Yeah, I think I'm going to my 25-year. Vince, the gray hair going on here. So.
Yes. Listen, we're aging well.
Right. I'll receive that. Amen. Hey, so so thank you again for jumping on board, and we want to talk a little bit about your business. So, a lot of people who are going to be watching this podcast and listening to the podcast, they come from all kinds of different types of businesses. And, we want to really kind of engage and figure out, a little bit more about Boxed by Baisy. And first of all, how did you get inspired to start your company?
Absolutely. Thank you for that question. So I am not a business entrepreneur by trade, which is probably everyone's story right now. I'm a trained psychologist and educator. I was a principal in education for 16 years. So shout out to all my teachers, admin, and virtual school right now, getting it happen. So I love to do gift boxes, and I was making boxes for my friends, family, and just a couple of people who knew that I did like small curated gift boxes, and trying to find some of the things, the stocked items that I would want to put in, whether it was a coffee mug or a candle. But candles are something that I absolutely love. And I was like, I think I could do this. So like, it would be easier and cost efficient if I did that. And I was at the Dallas Farmers Market one day, and I was talking to another sister who had a business. So she was like, well, listen, I'm looking to go into wholesale. I'm trying to figure it out right now. Like, I'll let you know. And I was like, no, I'll let you know. And so we just started having a conversation. Like, I will follow up with you because this is something that that I think could be good for the both of us. And so that's how I got into the candle making business, with the scents and the measurements of like, what is the science, how to name and price it and all those different things. So it wasn't the first path, but it was another path that happened.
Things happen for a reason, that's for sure.
Yeah, I can definitely speak to it because I've been a Boxed by Baisy customer. I've had a candle from them, and it's one of the best candles ever. Like, I lit it in one room and I could smell it throughout the whole place. So I think that's one thing I really love, is like the quality of the product that you create. But I want to shift to the next question, and I want to ask you, because you wear a lot of different hats. You are a mother, you're an entrepreneur, you're a friend, you're so many different things. How do you balance all of these different roles in order to be effective and just achieve your business?
It just depends. Okay. But thank you for that too. Hey, thank you for saying like you love the product. One of the things to balance as an admin, like we talk about, don't letting the urgent eclipse the important. So like, what are the things that are important? But we also talk about like, you can do 3 things well at a time. And that doesn't mean that, you are any less than any other bucket. So like, what are your 3 buckets for this quarter, this week, this month? And just deciding like, where's my energy going to go? So I lead and I operate with that. Of course, family, my children come first. So they always are the priority, because that's just how life goes. And so like, what is it that they need done? And then I try to work everything around that, whether it's a call, like right now, 12 o'clock works because the oldest is doing his elective classes. So he's a little more independent during this time versus reading class. And he does dual language. So I have to be there on task. So I try to operate and lead with that. What are my big rocks for the week, for the quarter? What I want to accomplish too. And then talking about systems and how do I put those systems in place to achieve that. So sometimes I'm just getting it done. Other times I'm exceeding, and the other times I'm like, somebody come and help me with it all. So just leading with that too, and just trying to make sure I have fun. Like I said, I love the candles. I love the boxes. And when it doesn't feel like fun anymore, I do step back from it to like regroup and recalibrate.
That's good. Yeah.
And I have a random question that we ask, several people. So, if you were to have dinner, with three or lunch with three uh, people alive or dead, who would they be and why?
So I thought about this again. I think so. Definitely, my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, because she passed away before I was born. So I would just love to have the opportunity to spend time with her and eat some of her good cooking that everyone talks about. They just said she was such like a social life. An artist, Whitney Houston, because she was to me like one of these artists that you could touch and just like a good time all around, and to hear that voice live. And then Misha Green, she is one of the writers for Lovecraft Country, and I was not a sci-fi horror person. Like I need to watch everything during the daylight because I'm scary. But she, just the way in which like she's put it together and made, like now I realize it's not. I was scared of it, but I also didn't see myself. We didn't often see ourselves in the horror film, other than running away or something like that. But like we are every character in this show, and I'm just like, girlfriend, like how did you think about this, and like who? How did you streaming African American history and the Black history into this horror film so seamlessly? And so I would just love to sit down and pick her brain about how she just gathered the confidence and like the stories and everything like that. So she's somebody alive I would definitely want to have dinner with.
Oh,
You made me laugh because, I'm just like you. I love the Twilight Zone, and I only can watch Twilight Zone during the day. Like once that sunset.
No, it is Cartoon Central.
yeah.
I love it. So, what are the top challenges that you've experienced as an entrepreneur, and how have you overcome them?
Overcome. So one of the biggest challenges would be just knowing the business, everything behind it. Like I said, some of the passion projects and what I've learned, like a lot of entrepreneurs, you may start with something else like a t-shirt company, but actually I veered and now I'm doing sweatshirts. So I think just one of the challenges was like knowing the business or having the confidence around it too, and feeling like, well, I can't start anything because I don't know how to do the IG post and have it just randomly or, strategically set up, or I don't know how to scale the business. So how much should I be charging for a 4-ounce versus a 12-ounce candle like that? So I think that was a challenge for me of just getting out of my own head and out of my own way and just like learning it as I grow the business there too. And also too, of like, who are you getting into business with, whether it be your graphic design team, of like doing that research and just making sure like you aren't just hemorrhaging money out, or you're also finding somebody too who this is what they love to do, this is their business, so they're going to give you a quality service so that your business can still be of quality.
Man, that is so true, because it's one of those things, you could have tons of money. You can just dump it into a designer, or marketing person. And because they don't have the heart for it or the passion, or maybe you're another number to them versus being an actual, I guess, relationship client, and they can really make and break your business easy, because
yes, I learned that. Yes.
What did I get for all this money I spent? So yeah, that's the truth. So because it's one of those things, it's almost like a marriage, not only you're involved, but your significant other, or even people that you bring on board to help, has to be involved. So
exactly. Even like with friends, and people say this all the time, that just, I always want to help a friend. Like I posted something, another girlfriend, she started a doll line, and she launched yesterday. It's based on HBCUs, and she just said like, hey, I didn't see it in the market too. So this is something like how I always want to pub friends, and especially Black women doing things too as well. But that's another risk too as well, of just because they are your friends, that doesn't necessarily mean that they can be a business partner with you too. They just need to be a supporter of just like, this is the sale, purchase the candles during the sale time, and we're just gonna leave it at that. Or vice versa too. So that's something like a risk, or just a lesson learned too, of just who do you need to marry with in your business is important. I like the way you put that, Mario.
Yeah, preach it. Now, you have competition out there, and maybe not at the level that you're at, because your candles are amazing. I've actually smelt the candle that Jennifer had purchased, and I was like, I'm behind. I gotta grab your candle.
we can get you covered for the holiday season.
Appreciate it. But so what makes your company unique? You know, I know the quality of it, you know, and based on the way that you're passionate about your company and a lot of things that I've read about you previously before this meeting, I could see your passion behind it. But what else makes your company you know unique? What gives your company that unique element with your customers?
I think two reasons or two things. The curated part with the boxes, because I still do that and I still have a love for that as well. And I think that that's a lost art or a touch to a lot of people doing subscription boxes too, which I don't do. And so it's just like, I enjoy talking to someone if you wanted to do one for your loved one. So we actually are going to have a conversation and consultation too, where I get to learn about you and a friend. So that relational piece that sometimes we just don't have time for, but the pandemic has helped us with. I think that's something that people say that they love to have just like, oh, I know Baisy now, like that is my friend. Like I can call her, we can talk about different things. And then just the care in which is like a lot of surprises in the box too of things that people didn't think, and it's personalized and people need that reminder that like you're important. On the candle side, I think they are soy based. I think that the quality of the scents and the person that I was partnering with, they were very intentional about like what experience. One of my favorite candles, I had some friends over for, we did a spooky haunted house, like gingerbread for my son. And they were just like, We Like to Party, which is a summer scent. And they were just like, I need that they saw a Beyonce video come on. They were just like, where's the candle? I need that experience. So I go into the candles with, if it's We Like to Party, that's fun, it's summertime, and the aromas make you want to like dance and just like just upbeat. But then there's the Idris, if we all know who he is, okay, when we think about Idris, it's a certain feeling that his just name elicits. And so the sense too appeared with that comfort that I want to breathe it in just a little bit more. It's warm and cozy thing. And then like Max and Ava, which I named after my 2-year-old twins. They were one at the time, or turning one at the time too. And so it's two different scents that I blended together because that's what they are. I call them Sour Patch Kids too. It's just like, they just seem a punch at the onset of it, but then it smooths out and it's just this beautiful scent and it's just really, really soft too. So I think that part is more of an experience with the candles too that people have. And all the names are rooted in Black culture that I love. It's either family. I have a Waco Drive since I'm from Waco. Broke Bandit, that is the 5-year-old who has champagne taste with $0. And then some other like Love Jones is my signature scent, a rosemary mint too, which is my favorite movie. So I think it's also like an experience and people can relate to the names, and it's just conversation starters as well. So it's fun to a certain degree.
I love it.
I love like themes and just things like that in candles. And I think I told you last time, I bought a bunch of essential oil candles and I burned them and I couldn't smell anything. I almost had my nose in there about to burn my nose and I couldn't smell it. So just the fact that even in the little bitty tins that you sell, you can light that thing and the smell goes, I'm like super appreciative of that now that I've had that experience that I had.
Thank you. The same. So I'm working on a different holiday scent right now, and I try to mix them before and do aromas, and then the kids are working on body scrubs as well, like doing different iterations of them too. Just because the same thing too. I still love candles, and I buy other candles from some of those people who are competitors. When I get to that, I'm gonna claim it when I get to that status. Yeah. And so I still do love certain companies too, but I love them because I like to take the top off, and if I can't smell it, then I just put the top back on and walk away, because you should be able to smell a candle regardless if it's lit or not in the house.
That's true. That's true. So what does your average day look like? Like, walk us through, how does your morning start? What does it look like by the end of the day?
Yes, it's quiet now, which is never quiet in this house. So the day looks like the day before, just looking through my calendar, because I want to make sure I don't miss anything, because if I don't write it down, I don't look at it, it's not going to happen, or it never happened. Yeah. So I wake up and I am a mom first and foremost all the time. So I'm cooking today. We had pumpkin chocolate chip pancakes for breakfast, and going over with the 5-year-old and the 2-year-old, getting them set and started. And then I go through of like, if I have any orders, they come come through? What do I need to fulfill this order? And try to organize my day based on that. If I have to go out and gather materials to do that, or if I just need to go to the post office, which is one of my favorite things. I don't know why I love still going to the post office, something about dropping the boxes, to do that. And then conference calls, taking meetings. I've, like I said, one avenue will lead to another. So I'm doing some brand strategies with the Black-owned company right now. I'm really excited about to be one of her first employees, as she said, one of her first contractors as well. So we're doing a lot of work there with some big names such as like Essence and BET. So I'm working on that and doing that. And I also serve as a school board president. And so taking those meetings, writing a charter, just doing a lot of different things that I even forget about throughout the day too, in addition to just making sure, like you said, being a friend, being a family member, that's really important to me, of just like making sure I'm pouring into the village that's pouring and supporting me.
So,
Do you
you
sleep?
basically 2 hours of sleep.
Oh, do I
Yeah.
sleep? So even like my 5-year-old, and I talk about my kids all the time, but we are the same. Like I had to talk to a doctor. I don't require a lot of sleep, but I have to go to sleep around 8:30.
Mhm.
Like I'm a person, like if I'm done with the day, like even in college, everyone was out, I'm asleep, okay? I need to be resting, or at least at home and settled before, but I do require about 6 hours of sleep. And then I'm back up around 5:30, 6 o'clock. And then most of that time is like meditation, reading, doing some things like that before I am on my full-time job as a mommy in virtual school.
Wow. Kudos to you. That's awesome.
So the misconception that a lot of people get about business owners is, oh, you could do whatever you want throughout the whole day and all your bills are paid. You're just making bukus of money. But what a lot of people don't realize is there's risk involved. And so with that, I'm sure there's a lot of risks that you've taken, whether it's sweat equity or whether it's financial. But what risks have you taken in your career that, initially scared you, but has paid off, tremendously?
Thank you for saying that. That's true, because some months are 0 months. Some months are, I'm doing this for the love. And then other months it's like, oh, okay, people like what I'm doing. So I think that that's something to put out there as well. Like it's a balance. It's almost like you're working on commission for yourself. So I think one of the major risks that I took was starting before I was ready. And I was using my own savings to buy materials and just to do the ideas that I had for the boxes before I knew what would be like a solid Mother's Day box or my signature teacher appreciation box too. So I think that up front was the risk too, of just starting before I'm ready and just like releasing the fact that I may not make a profit off of this at this time. In addition to like who you partner with, I talked about that before too as well, being very, very thoughtful. And I say still, you learn, everything is like, I have a sign that, it wasn't a mistake, it was a lesson. And I live like that too, of like, yes, I may have been upset because this person didn't pay it out the way I thought that they would have in that story. However, what did I learn from that? I learned how to like, okay, the LLC part of it, I need to make sure I have written contracts and just those other behind the scenes, the business aspect of it. So the risk to me, while they may sting, is like, what is the lesson? How do I retool? How do I use that to make sure going forward, like that doesn't happen again?
Good. So what advice would you give someone who's interested in becoming an entrepreneur? Because everybody, especially these days where there's always these, I'm self-made. I do this, I do that. I fly private jets.
No bow wow challenge, you do not. So I think the lesson is to start before you're ready. The friend that I talked about who started the dog company, she was like, well, I don't know, I'm not all the way ready, I don't have a website. Put it out on Facebook, put it on IG, just start and just get a feel for the taste of it, and the rest of it will come. And she launched yesterday and she was like, oh my God, like the orders are coming in. Like I don't know, she said I was prepared, but now I have to get ready in a different way. And she was like, my pace system. And I was like, you did what was most important. You started your business, and now it is the time to start to research. So I think that that's something that people need to do. And also just think, like you said, there are a bunch of different candle companies. There are a lot of dope Black companies that are out doing candles that I purchase and I patronize and that I love as well. There's room for us all. There's definitely room for us all. And in addition to the thing that you may not be great at, like building a website, that was not my ministry. I've been in education, like I said, we were still using textbooks, and I was writing lesson plans when I first started. So hey, I'm going to call somebody who is good at building a website, and like, where do you want to invest your money? And like, sometimes you need to put money into your deficit area as a business person, or something that you may not want to do or like to do, and that's fine too as well. You don't have to do everything, because you can't do everything. So start before you're ready. Don't get into it to make money, because you are going to, it's a slow incline sometimes to get where you want to go. Like, make sure it's something that you're passionate about and that you like, and you have the time to as well. And then just decide, like, what is it that I may have to outsource to make sure I'm doing the quality work of like the one product. So mine is candles. So I needed to make sure, like, graphic designs that needed to be outsourced to somebody else. I did pay somebody to start my initial website. That is something that needed to be outsourced, because I'm running around getting boxes, getting sent, and doing some other things that were important to me. But then, like, the logo, I didn't outsource this. I had 3 different people before I found the person. Like, no, you're gonna do what I want for my logo, because that's how my brand and how I want it to look. I want to make sure that it represents me and myself.
Awesome.
That is so true, because the thing is, even with my company, it's kind of hard to release some of that control. I'm definitely not a micromanager, and I'm definitely not. I don't. I guess it's one of those things you always kind of hesitant, because people don't really have that passion or the commitment like you wish that they had. You wish you could duplicate yourself, but at the same time, like you said, if you try to do everything, you're going to wear yourself out, and you're not going to know where to start. So it's kind of, for me, I know I had to learn how to release, because my, our company is branding and marketing and so forth. So it's like, okay, I need to trust that this person's going to do the website the way that it needs to be done. I'm going to need to trust that this person's going to do the video work that it needs to be done, versus me trying to do the entire thing. And then I just end up with a lot less hair than I already have now. So
Exactly. And I was watching Beyonce's the documentary for Homecoming, and she was talking about like how her father talked to her about, like, sometimes in business, like women especially, we don't want to speak up for ourselves, so we think we aren't being nice or kind of being labeled the B word. But like, it's your business. And like, the person I was talking about with her dog coming in her logo, she went back and forth. She's like, well, I've already asked 3 or 4 times, and asked the 5th time because it doesn't look the way that you want. And it's okay to say that. And I said, because this is your brand and something that you have to live with. And although you're outsourcing it, it's still, you need to make sure it's something that you're comfortable with and that you can live with, because this is your baby essentially. And so that is a note too. And then I think reading, another mom who has a online boutique for kids, like she and I talked about different books that we would read together. Like, we just felt that were helpful too. So I think that that's something that's important. Or different articles, if you're not like a person who wants to sit down with a book, the different articles, the different podcasts, like that. We talked about this, Jennifer, the Side Pro Hustle. Like, they have 2 new episodes I need to listen to today. And so I think there's information out there for you, and just tap into it when you have time and how you want to access it.
And that's an excellent intro to the next question I was about to have. Is, a lot of times we find ourselves in a world by ourselves. As an entrepreneur, was like, okay, where do we get the resources to help encourage us? Not to just educate, but encourage us to go beyond that extra step. And so, what other resources do you utilize, or people that you utilize to kind of help mentor you to get to that next step?
I think I started with podcasts of just like, what are other women doing? And then like, what does the market look like as well? And so what I liked about the Side Pro Hustle is that every episode, it was a different company, and they were talking about some of the same things, these great questions y'all are asking me of like, what are some of the struggles, the challenges, like what keeps you motivated? Just different books. About just overcoming and challenges. I do a lot of documentaries and memoirs. Someone just recommended the Atomic Mind, and they talk more about like systems. We all have goals, and the shift from you trying to attain a goal. Like, I've done half marathons too, but I stopped because I don't want to run 13 miles anymore. But what were the systems that were in place that, that you may need to live with, just to make sure that you're living your full life as well. And then I have a strong group of like a Mind Trust group of women and group of men to like, what are we working on and committing? And then I will ask anybody for anything like, okay, how do you do such and such? When I saw Jennifer, we were in Walgreens. I was picking up photos to send out, like holiday photos. And I was just telling her like, hey, I want to get into podcasts. I started dipping into like a former love. And she was just like, oh, I actually have a podcast too. You know, I was like, oh, okay. And but I asked her for the information. She said, well, you know, you have a business. Would you like to be a guest? So trying to say yes to more things too versus no. Like, I am terrified. I'm not a public speaker. However, this is something that is helpful and beneficial to my brand, to myself, and of course, like, love and excited to be here as well. But if I want to get into podcasting, I have to say yes to more things. And like, what does it look like to be on a great podcast such as this one?
I appreciate it. Well, you do an excellent job. I would have never thought that you have a fear. No. Jennifer, she's excellent public speaker. Me, I'm always behind the scenes. It's like
Mario's a good speaker too. He just like he prefers to be behind the scenes.
Right.
If he needs to speak, he can speak. You know?
Well, doing this has definitely helped. So, you know.
Yeah,
that's cool.
That's awesome. So I really like what you said. Before I go into my next question about just starting now, and it's so funny because I just posted something on Instagram on Saturday night about just starting, because everybody always thinks that you're gonna have you know that you need to have all your tools in place and ready. But who's to even say that if you had everything, like you said, oh, my website needs to be launched and I need to have my graphics together. I do think that brand identity is important and making sure that you present yourself. But I think that we do get too caught up in the weeds sometimes as far as trying to make sure everything's too perfect. And that's how we miss opportunities. Because there's some things that we're going to be participating in the next couple of weeks. We're not necessarily ready for them, but sometimes just signing up and committing to it helps us to get ready for them, you know? Yeah. So with that, I ask you, what is the most important lesson that you have learned in life in general?
Oh, wow. I've learned that every season is just that. And to grab hold to the good that is there and to live in the moment, because you just never know. I think that is something to live your life to the fullest in that particular moment. And that's how I think the pandemic showed a lot of us that too, of like, we are not in control. So what just stop for a moment, take it in, breathe it in, capture, whether that's journaling, pictures, or anything, to just to live in the moment and know that things are a season, and whether this season may be a valley or whether it may be a peak, it is your season right now, and things change. Everything is just a constant evolution.
That's real. That was great. Mario, do you have anything else you want to add?
Oh, no, other than that, I definitely appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. And then, how can people get a hold of you? What are some of your hashtags, and, how can people find out more information about your awesome business?
All the hashtags. So I do primarily IG, and so it's Boxed by Baisy on IG, just BOXEDBYBAISD. So Boxed by Baisy, or just Baisy at IG is where I am on Facebook. I'm going to also have a website, the same name, boxedbybaisy.com.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you, everybody, for joining today.
Thanks for having me. It was wonderful.
Yes, it's always great having you. And we'll see everybody later. Have a great day. Bye.